All right, let's dive into a story that a lot of us probably think we know pretty well. A paralyzed man, his incredibly determined friends, and a miracle that happens through a roof. But just beneath the surface of this amazing healing, there are these hidden layers of architecture, law, and a really controversial claim of identity. So let's get into it and unpack them together. This right here is where the whole story pivots. You've got this desperate plea for a physical healing, and what you get is this shocking spiritual response. It's the central mystery we're going to investigate today. It's the twist that turns what could have been a simple healing story into this profound statement about authority and, well, about who Jesus really is. So let's set the stage. We're in Capernaum. Jesus has come back to what Mark calls his home, which was most likely the house of his disciple Peter. By now, his fame has spread like wildfire, and his arrival has drawn this just overwhelming crowd, all of them desperate to hear him preach.
I mean, try to picture a small, maybe single-room house just packed to the gills with people, spilling out into the narrow street. The crowd itself, this group of people hungry for a miracle or a teaching, they become the first huge obstacle, a literal human wall keeping this desperate man from getting to Jesus.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting if you look at the details. See how the description of the man's bed actually changes between the Gospels? Mark, who is writing for a Roman audience, uses this very specific Latin-derived word, kribatos. This wasn't some fancy bed or a stretcher. It was a simple, portable mat that a poor person would use. It really grounds the story in the raw reality of poverty and need. So when we read that his friends dug through the roof, we have to understand this was not a neat and tidy job. They were literally clawing through layers of dried mud, earth, and branches. It would have been destructive, incredibly messy, and loud. It was this crazy demonstration of their unwavering faith and pure determination to get their friend to the one person they believed could actually help him. Okay, so after all of that, the struggle through the crowd, the destructive climb up to the roof, the messy digging, the man is finally lowered right in front of Jesus. And Jesus sees him, and he says something that absolutely no one in that room was expecting. He completely shifts the focus from physical healing to spiritual forgiveness. In a culture that so often connected sickness directly to personal sin, this statement was just profound. The man himself might have believed his condition was his own fault, carrying this heavy burden of guilt on top of his physical paralysis. And Jesus just looks right past the obvious physical problem and addresses what he sees as the man's truest, deepest need first. And this is where the conflict really ignites. The scribes, these are the religious legal experts in the room, they don't say a single word out loud. But Jesus, in this incredible demonstration of his insight, he perceives their internal thoughts, and it sets the stage for a major theological showdown.
To them, this wasn't just some outrageous claim. It was blasphemy. And here's the thing, they were absolutely correct in their theology. Only God can forgive sins. But they were tragically wrong in their assessment of the man standing right in front of them. As far as they were concerned, he had just committed a capital offense.
Yeah, we have to understand what blasphemy meant to them. It wasn't just about saying something disrespectful about God. The ultimate form of blasphemy was to usurp the role of God, to claim an authority that belonged only to him. And that is exactly what the scribes believed Jesus was doing. So, sensing their thoughts, Jesus just poses this brilliant question that cuts right to the heart of everything. Which is easier? It's easy to say your sins are forgiven, right? Because it's invisible, it's an internal act, nobody can check to see if it happened. But to tell a paralyzed man to get up and walk, well, that offers immediate, visible, undeniable proof of authority. So, to justify his actions and to answer his own challenge, Jesus then uses a very specific and incredibly powerful title for himself, one that his listeners, especially the scribes, would have immediately connected to a divine figure from their own scriptures. This is huge. It's the very first time in Mark's Gospel that Jesus uses this title, Son of Man, and he picks this critical moment to explicitly claim the very authority the scribes are questioning, the divine authority to forgive sins, right here on earth. Now, when you hear Son of Man, it might just sound like another way of saying a human being. But no, its background in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, gives it this profound messianic and even divine significance that would absolutely not have been lost on his audience. This quote from Daniel is the key to the whole thing. The vision is about this human-like figure who comes before God, the Ancient of Days, and is given an everlasting kingdom and universal authority. So by using this title,
Jesus is directly identifying himself with this prophesied divine ruler. He's essentially saying, you know that guy Daniel was talking about? That's me.
So the crucial point here is that this is not a title of simple humility. It is a massive claim to divine authority, to cosmic kingship, and to final judgment. Jesus is effectively telling the scribes, I am the one Daniel spoke of, and I have all the authority that comes with it.
Okay, so let's get to the climax and see how this all builds. He's made this incredible claim. Now he's about to provide the physical, undeniable proof to back up his spiritual authority. He's about to do the thing that is visibly much, much harder.
I love this part. He actually breaks off his sentence to the scribes, like mid-thought, and turns back to the paralyzed man. He shifts from a verbal debate to a tangible, real-world action, showing that his authority isn't just in words, but is something real and observable.
The command is so direct, so powerful, and it combines three amazing things: the physical act of rising, the restoration of dignity, he can now carry his own mat, and the social restoration of being able to go back to his family and his home. It's complete healing.
And bam, the healing is instant and it's public. He walks out right in front of the entire crowd and, most importantly, right in front of the scribes. It serves as this undeniable proof that Jesus' words have power, not just to heal bodies, but to forgive sins too. The very thing they doubted was just proven right before their eyes. So what do we take away from all this? Well, this story obviously teaches us about the incredible power of community faith. Friends who would literally tear a roof apart for someone they love. But even more than that, it's this profound revelation of Jesus' identity and his mission. He has authority over the physical and the spiritual, and he came to provide a holistic salvation that addresses our deepest spiritual needs above everything else. And this kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We, just like the man's friends, we so often focus on our most visible, our most urgent problems, the things we think we need fixed right now. But this story challenges us to look a little deeper and ask ourselves, what are our truest, most fundamental needs? And are we willing to let